Call meeting order.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Amen.
Please call the roll.
All right. John Junko,
Here.
Maria Mills Bennett, Bo Bofamy, Joseph Fazzi,
Here.
Thomas Jordan,
Here.
Lance Green, Chairman Newton White.
Here. All right. Ask that everybody please silence your wireless devices. And first item is consideration of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. Case number 18400000002. Master Development Agreement Amendment, Third Amendment to the Journey's End Planned Commercial Development Master Development Agreement. How many times can we put the same words in the paragraph? 5790 Journey's End Way, a request by the applicant to amend the Master Development Agreement for the Journey's End Planned Commercial Development to allow for additional tenant panels on the multi-tenant subdivision sign. Brianna, what do you have to tell us?
Brianna Conlon King, planner. This is the proposed third amendment to the Journey's End Master Development Agreement to replace the current 15-foot tall multi-tenant 48 square foot sign area commercial subdivision sign with 15-foot tall 60 square feet of sign area. The original Journey's End MDA was adopted in 2001 and established the requirements for the multi-tenant commercial subdivision sign, and at that time only included 3 lots. In 2008, 2 additional lots were added to the subdivision. The applicant is requesting 2 additional panels totaling 12 square feet for the 2 additional lots that were added to the subdivision in 2008. The proposed sign will meet the 15-foot height requirement in the MDA and all the design requirements in the LDC. The new sign will be similar in appearance to the existing sign. Staff is recommending approval, and the applicant is here to answer any questions you may have.
Tom, any questions?
Yes, I do have questions. So 10 years ago, they added two parcels to this. Is that correct?
Yes.
But nobody thought to say, gee, we might need signs for those guys then?
No.
Okay.
Not at that time.
All right. And is the height of the sign is staying the same?
Yes.
So it's getting wider
Yes.
for 60 square feet
Yes.
instead of 48 square feet.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Bill?
No, I'm good.
No, nothing. It's pretty straightforward.
Sounds pretty reasonable to me, too. Does anybody want to make a motion? Or does the applicant want to come talk
You
us
got
out
to
of
do
it?
applicant public.
I'd rather be quiet.
Anybody?
Any public comments on the sign?
Well, you want me to make a motion?
No, I just want to sit here all night.
Well, say any motions and I'll say. Well,
I said I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 18-40000002. Approval with staff recommendations.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, call the roll.
Do we have discussion?
Oh,
on
I'm
this
sorry.
one?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, we
I'm going to be Lance tonight. So here we are. We got another sign. We got a bigger sign, getting bigger sign. We got signs everywhere. And it looks to me that you could take these 3 panels that are already in there, turn them into 6 panels, just as it is right now. I just hate seeing us add more bigger signs. It's starting to get to me on this. That's my comment.
Any more comments?
No, I know that area because I live off of that road all the time. And that is a tricky back lot piece of property that's very well concealed. I mean, the mellow mushroom is hiding in the back there. So in lieu of the location of the lot was a factor of why I had no issue with it. So that's my 5 cents worth. So.
I would add to that I frequent there because I live in the same area, and having some type of directional visibility for those businesses is important for them, and I think it's also important for the the traffic and the drivers to have a large enough visible sign that they know where they're going, because they're going to go looking for that business, and having a good sign to tell them where it is I think important. And it's going to be the same height, a little bit wider, so it's not going to really obstruct that much more. They're only going to be 12 foot more of sign space on it. So I think it's fairly reasonable, and I think it'll actually be a safety enhancement for people that are trying to get where they're going there.
I have a quick question for Brianna. Do you know, is this sign as big as or bigger than the Waffle House sign on Taylor Road? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm
You're channeling Lance Green.
I am, yeah.
It's true.
The Waffle House sign is 8 feet tall and 48 square feet.
48 square feet.
Correct.
So this is going to be bigger than the Waffle House sign.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's in an MDA, and that's why.
I understand.
So.
Thank you.
And it's going to represent, 4 businesses instead of just one.
Just saying. Getting bigger signs.
I look at them differently from each case, and if there was something that was on Dunlawton with multiple businesses where everyone's really abiding by the same signage rules, I would be more hesitant. But I know this is in the corner, packed up behind I-95, and if you turn right on the Taylor Road, you could drive right past that road. And I mean, even Mellow Mushroom's concealed with vegetation very well. So again, the unique nature and the location of this particular scenario is the reason I'm not hesitant to request approval. So.
I kind of agree. I agree with Tom. We got to be careful. Our signage. We don't want to. But again, I agree with you guys also. This is kind of the businesses are concealed back there, and people need they need a little bit of advertising or direction on how to get back in there. And like you said, John, it's with all the shrubs or the trees and everything back there, it's well concealed back there, so it helps them find those businesses back there.
Any more?
Mr. Chair?
Any more? Call the roll.
Thomas Jordan,
No.
Joe Fazzi,
Yes.
John Junko,
Yes.
Chairman Newton White.
Yes. Motion carries. Case number 18275000001, Comprehensive Plan Capital Improvements Element 2018 Annual Update. Update to amend the Comprehensive Plan Capital Improvements Element in accordance with Florida statutes. Ms. Cruz?
Good evening, Penelope Cruz, planner. So every year, this time, come before you with this capital improvements element update. It's basically the already approved capital improvements element. The items in the capital improvements, program that the council has already approved and adopted. The ones that impact concurrency facilities, those get copied into the comprehensive plan capital improvements element as required by state law. So nothing is different here that has already been approved by City Council. So this is just a requirement of state law that once the CIP, Capital Improvements Program, is adopted, that we transfer the infrastructure-related projects in the CIP into the comp plan. So that's what you have before you tonight.
John, any questions?
This is, I think we refer to this as housekeeping.
Yep, pretty much.
So we're just keeping things clean and just doing our traditional annual house cleaning. So I have no questions.
Joe?
Nothing right now.
Tom?
I have questions.
We
Thought you
just-
were leaving early, didn't you? So on biggest thing I'm concerned about is our transportation capability, I'll say. So there's a table in here called Table 2, which is identified as pages 10-10, 1012, 1013, 1014. So all of these fair share monies that are listed in here, are these monies that are sitting in accounts?
No,
right
some
now?
of them have already been spent and the project's been completed.
Right.
Other
okay.
ones are in accounts waiting to have the funding to build the project. So for example, Yorktown is a new project. So the money that we're collecting now as we go is in an account, and when we have enough that project will be built.
And those monies are shown on the other tables that are in the project list for the budgeted years, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
and they're in that table so that we can collect the money.
Yes,
Mhm.
got it. So we have a grand total of 5.7 million roughly, but that's
Mhm.
monies that are sitting in accounts plus
Well,
the
some of
money
them,
that have been spent.
some of it's been spent.
Yeah,
you
that's what
know,
I'm saying.
yeah.
It's-
A lot of the earlier projects have already been completed,
I
but we
get
just
that.
keep it there for record purposes.
Okay, alrighty, thanks.
You're welcome. That was easy, Tom.
I have no question. Anybody, any more questions for that?
No.
Any public comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I don't know what's calling it, have that, here it is. Motion, what do you, motion to accept? I don't even have the number. Oh, move to accept the staff report, case number, is this the right one? 18-275-00001.
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
John Junko,
Yes.
Joseph Fazzi,
Yes.
Thomas Jordan,
Yes.
Chairman Newton White.
Yes. Alright. Let's see, make sure I'm getting the right one here. Moving along to item 7, 2019 proposed public hearing and development review calendars. Tim ran out? No, here's Tim.
So every year we also, we provide you with the list of dates for the upcoming meetings, submittal application deadlines, SDRC application deadlines and meetings. So we just, if you have any questions, we're here to answer them about those dates. There were a couple of changes just to address the holidays like we did in the previous years. But other than that, we just need you to make a motion to accept if you're okay with them.
Any questions about the calendar? I'll entertain a motion.
I'm trying to find the motion to approve it. I'm scrolling.
There isn't one.
Okay, well, then I'll make a motion to approve the calendar changes for the future fiscal years.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Or do you need do we need
Roll.
a roll call for this or just voice vote?
Voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Oh. Okay. The 2018 concurrency management report. Do we have a staff report on that, or do we need to?
It's just, Penelope Cruz Planner. It's just an annual report that we provide to you, just like we used to provide like the building reports and the development activity reports. So there's no presentation or anything unless it's an annual report. Again, just cumulative view of all the concurrency analysis that we do throughout the year. We do this cumulative snapshot every year. So it's just a standard report. So unless you have any questions, there's not really a staff presentation on it.
I have some comments on it my own self, but I will let anybody else on the board go first. Tom? Joe? John?
No, go ahead.
Nope.
I have
Um,
comments, but if you want to go, go ahead.
Go.
No, I'm getting back to the transportation issues here. This is the biggest complaint we have in the city, and one of the things that we have an impact on when we make decisions up here.
Mhm.
So we talk about LOS, I'm sorry, we talk about level of service, and the
Unless
So-
there's a mitigation option.
define that for me, explain how that works.
Transportation fair share. There's a
I don't know
mitigation
what that
option.
means.
The table we were just talking about, table
Okay.
2.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you probably noticed there's a segment of Williamson that's over
Correct.
LOS.
Yeah.
The county does not have a fair share project. They don't have money to widen that as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we have our Yorktown project. It's a parallel facility that can help relieve some of the congestion on Williamson. So they allow us to collect funds as we review projects, and based on their transportation impact analysis, there's a formula where we can collect funds to help build Yorktown, which will help relieve some of the congestion on Williamson because it's a parallel facility.
Okay.
And that allows that project to keep moving forward because we're able then to collect those funds and build that project. That's something that's actually something that's dictated by state law.
Okay.
We're required to have a method to keep things moving. So
Right.
we can't just say no. We have a process. We have a fair share process where people can mitigate their impacts to infrastructure. So if they either have to build an improvement, or they have to, if we have a project, they have to pay into it so that we can build that improvement.
So because we're planning on building a parallel road sometime,
It's a planned program facility that we are actively collecting funds. We have
Okay.
design plans.
so because it's active, because it's
Yeah,
active
it can't
right
just
now.
be a pipe dream. You have
Exactly.
to. The reason we are able to collect funds is because we have design plans and we know how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
And so it's something that's a reality. It's something that's happened. It's been planned. It's been in our plans since the 80s. We actually have design plans now, and we're collecting funds to get it constructed.
As opposed to the Williamson widening, which
Which
is
is
just
not-
a pipe dream.
Well, they don't have the funds to do that right now, so
Right.
we are able to pipeline those funds into a project that we have.
That will help alleviate this
Mhm.
particular level of service issue.
Mhm.
Okay, alrighty.
Yep.
Cool. That's all I have, thank you.
Joe?
No.
Joe? My turn. On page 14 of the concurrency report, roadways currently not operating with an adopted level of service. And in that paragraph, it says that there are 2 roadway segments in Port Orange that are not, and that they slightly exceed the adopted level of service. And I wanted to talk more of not a question, not anything that requires a response, but we adopt this level of service from FDOT, national standards or state standards, and it says that obviously we know that those 2 spots are congested, and there's a couple of more that don't meet that muster. And going down the chart and seeing, the roads that are 70% of its utilization and 103% and such. What I hear in our community, in the city of Port Orange, is that indicates to me that that level of service that we are adopting is too high or too low. It's wrong. It's not what people want. People want less traffic than we have, and we know that it's, my observation again is the city is planned to be built out somewhere around 80,000 people. We have 60,000 now. You add 20,000 more, we're going to have more traffic. And if we don't build more roads, it's going to get worse. And that's just my observation. I also observe it like my pet peeve of small parking spaces. People enjoy the larger spaces. It's easier for a person with children to get the door open wide enough to get children in and out of car seats, and people that have handicaps and mobility disabilities that don't necessarily need a handicap space, but if they can get their car door open, they can get in and out. And I just want to be cognizant that we're adopting levels of service that might not be what our community members, our citizens, want to adopt. And I wanted to say that publicly, and I wanted to say that in the meeting and open and have it on the record. Thank
But
you.
the level of adoption, level of service is based on the type of road. It's not
Well,
an
yeah, but
arbitrary
we're
number.
adopting statewide or national standards as our level of service. We're not defining it as this is the level of
So-
service that Port Orange wants for the city of Port Orange.
So if I can clarify that, for example, Dunlawton is a state facility.
Mm-hmm.
The state sets the level of service because they're the maintaining agency. Williamson is a county facility. They set the level of service standard because they're the maintaining agency. The only roads where we set what the level of service is are local roads.
Right.
Local meaning, City Port Orange maintained roads, which are not really the ones that people complain about. So the state roads like Dunlawton and Williamson, those level of service standards are set by those maintaining agencies because they're building a road that's X million of dollars, and they want to be able to utilize the majority of the capacity that they've built.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's
But
what
we
I'm
don't,
saying
yeah,
is
we
that
can't.
the level of service that we are adopting may not be what is desired by the people in our community, the people that we're sitting up here for. And that's all I wanted to say. I can't call you up and talk about it on the phone, so I have to talk about it in the
The
meeting.
sad thing is our city roads connect to the larger
Yeah.
roads that are maintained by other facilities. So we may do what we have to do with our neighborhood roads, but they feed in to main arteries of larger roads like Dunlawton, and in all reality, that situation will overall get worse. I mean, when you go through cities like Miami, and you are sitting in traffic for 40 minutes to go 5 miles away,
Yeah.
and that's projected issues
Oh,
that
we're-
they had with their growth pains, and I mean, I go to Miami and then I come up here, and compared to there to here, we're in good shape.
Oh yeah, we're in great
We're in
shape.
good
Port
shape.
Orange.
You know.
I mean, I'm all over East
Yeah.
Volusia and into Flagler, and everywhere I go, we're Port Orange. We're in great shape. I
Mhm.
mean, look,
Yeah.
we've got Williamson already built all the way out to Airport
Yep.
Road, but where it runs into Airport Road is where, you know, that's where the problem is going to be. Unfortunately, that's not in the city of Port Orange,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, we're in the county of Volusia, and
Right.
it is in the county of Volusia and the state of Florida. So overall, there's still going to be a transportation issue.
Mhm.
And, you know, you're asking about the cost share and looking at that $5 million that's in there, or been there. I think I read somewhere before when they were talking about the sales tax for transportation, the average cost of a mile of road is $5 million. So really, that's not a whole lot of money. Do we need a motion to accept, approve, or acknowledge this, so we can move on to commissioner comments then? Anything more on the concurrency report? Commissioner comments. John?
Just a matter of curiosity, if anyone can give me any updates on how that church tower situation is going. Have the two parties met? Have they come to an agreement? Have they retracted their application?
There's currently no current application on that tower right now. So they're working.
Was it removed?
We don't currently have an application in process for that tower then. So they're working on it with the church and the tower company, but right now we don't have an application on that.
Okay, so when we all had that meeting, there was no application on there?
Correct.
So this was all just to test the waters, to see public
No,
interest?
the way
or-
like we explained, what the code said, if
Uh-huh.
you intend to do something on that property, you got to come and say, hey, I'm going
That's
to do
what I
this on
wanna
this
do.
property.
Okay,
They did that.
all right.
Next step is a site plan, which we said we didn't have at that time, which is still the case here then.
I recall when we had our city council meeting that our city manager wanted to negotiate where all parties met in discussion about this. Had that happened?
I'd have to check with the city manager on that.
Okay, all right.
Joe?
No, nothing. I just want to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving next week. Hopefully everything goes well with your families. That's it.
Tom?
It's the same for me. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks for being here.
I'm talking a lot tonight. I wanted to talk about unintended consequences. Recently had a meeting with somebody who wants to buy a house, refurbish it, and live there and run a small business out of it. And in the conversation with that, everybody knows where the construction yard is on US 1 in Harbor Oaks. And when that was put in, everybody recoiled and changed the ordinances and the zoning in the Ridgewood Corridor area. And unintentionally, they have banned simple things. For instance, if you wanted to open a shop on the Ridgewood Corridor that sold wallpaper, that is prohibited. I can't even remember the other things that Tim told me that was actually prohibited when they did that. And I think we need to go and look at some of the stuff, some of the is not a PUD with the strip malls. where they basically at the time took a list of the stores and that was the allowed use?
I think there's two separate items. First is on the Ridgewood corridor. We
Yeah.
removed the contractor yard and storage.
Mhm.
One of those items basically is listed from an old code indicated air conditioning units, large storage facilities, or large areas where you have mechanical construction for road thing. It also says people who install wallpaper. That's what you basically, it was not retail. You could sell retail wallpaper
Yeah.
all you want. We'd encourage that on Ridgewood to get retail. That's the one item. The second item is the PCDs that we have around the city in older parts of the area. When they wrote them so specific with uses, like 4 uses listed on there, and they're prime commercial properties that should be community commercial, which if those were rezoned back to community commercial, or they redid the PCD to allow more uses, it could allow items like at the intersection of Nova and Spruce Creek. Those centers could expand the commercial uses they can get in there. Unfortunately, since they're PCDs, the property owner needs to make that call to rezone the property. And for some reason, that one that Newton's speaking about chooses not to spend the money to rezone the property to increase the number of uses that they can have on their lot.
And, well, what I'm looking at is unintended consequences that we've had, and I just want to try and bring it to light a little bit, that perhaps there's some more ways that we can work and make sure and get that fixed, but going forward, that we be more careful, that we don't have more unintended consequences with things that go 5-10 years later and we're like, oh, we did that. And that's all I have to say. No more commissioner comments and staff comments. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Public comments. Move to adjourn. Need a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Boom. Done. Good night.